Dude, that thing was Angelo Cataldi said it. That thing was an absolute train wreck. And the 49ers put the whooping stick. Let's get our friend Garry Cobb on from Fox 29 in Philadelphia. Boy, I'll tell you what, Garry, that was a sight to behold.
Yeah, it was ugly, man. I mean, after the first quarter, and really, you didn't expect things to just go south that quickly. But when they didn't score, when they didn't get in the end zone, that comes back to haunt you when you're playing a good team. Now, if you're playing a poor team, sometimes you get a pass. And the Eagles have been finding ways to get passes, but they did not punch that ball in the end zone. Now, the thing is, they were trying, they knew they needed to step up this week. So, they didn't just come out walking, just going through the motions. They knew we got to get on these guys, but they didn't get the ball into the end zone. And ultimately, the dog, you got to give the 49ers credit, man. They came out on the attack. Eventually, Shanahan, with the way he was dialing up plays, and everything was working. And they attacked the Eagles where I expected them to. Those linebackers in the middle. They took it to them. Really, you could see that some of the Eagles' big guys were tired. They just didn't have the fire they had. And you could see where those guys were kind of sluggish and they weren't getting off blocks on the running game. And then once they get the running game going on you, you better get ready, because once they get that running game going.
146. And Garry, I said this about both Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis has never played this volume of reps.
That's
and
right.
Jalen Carter could be hitting that rookie wall here, because if you look at the last 3 weeks, 168, 174, 146, we're starting to see a trend here. And if they can't stop the run with that back end, that's not a championship defense, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, we've been saying all year with the, and some things, they're just horrible. I mean, you can't play pure zone in the NFL. You don't play pure zone. You really play matchup zone. That means when a guy's in your area, you got to be on him, or you're just going to watch him catch the ball, because the quarterback's arms are good enough to where if you got a good quarterback, you can't just be standing in the area where the guy is. No, you got to be on him. So you kind of play a matchup zone like they do in basketball, where when a guy comes through your area, you got him, you're on him. And then you could pass him on to somebody else, but you got to be right there on the guy in order to knock the ball down, or you're just going to stand and watch him catch the ball. So they need to improve in that area. They're just not that good. And really the whole defense. I mean, the corners are playing too far off guys. I mean, how much room are you giving the guy?
God, they could. I mean, Garry, there were so many gaping lanes and passing lanes. I mean, you look like you were watching a college football game. Usually in the NFL, those windows are so tight. They were wide open. And
wide open.
Like when Kittle got that block and release, went down the sideline for 25, it was like the linebacker had never seen a block and release tight end get off the line. That's what he does.
I mean, they just were not, it's like they didn't really prepare for this team.
Yeah.
You're preparing for the 49ers. Certain things they like to do. Just like when they ran the reverse, and you look it over and you're going like, these guys don't want to make the tackle. Go up and make it. What are you doing? Go up and get off the block. Go up and make the tackle, man. They were not playing aggressive. The corners, and this is what they did. They had the corners. They put them in position where they got to come up and tackle. And if a guy, a lot of times, corners. I play with some good
Garry,
corners.
you don't think our corners are physical, do you?
They're not. They don't want to tackle. I mean, come on. You could go back and look at the film and you see with both of those guys not coming up, refusing to come up. Like, come up and make the tackle, dude. You got to come up. And this is where they really – I mean, it's almost funny because they know a guy doesn't want to tackle. So they're going, well, you know who you got to tackle this week, man. you're going to have to tackle this week. And they really just kind of exposed them. And you got to give them credit. I got to give them credit. Everybody got to give these guys credit because that was a butt whooping. That was my daddy gave me a few of those.
Hey, Gary, so you got to so you really think that Debo knew that he could be physical with those guys and they were not going to put him down?
Yeah, because that's what he was saying. See, that's what he was saying. We made the comments, and he was right. I mean, they didn't want him. And hey, look, that certain teams, they're going to make you make tackles. And if you're a cornerback, you don't want to tackle people. They identify you, and they make sure to run plays where you got to be the one to come up and make the tackle. And they didn't want any part of Debo. That's why you look at the touchdown, that first one. No, they don't want to come off and make the tackle, man. They did not want coach, I'm blocked. I'm blocked, coach. I'm blocked.
I think I'm hearing soft.
That's what you're hearing. That's what you're hearing. And I think where some of the guys' teammates got to go, look, dude, if you don't want to play today, they leave, man. You don't want to play today because you got to tackle Debo. That's why they designed this. And they're, I mean, come on.
Hey, DK Metcalf's up in 2 weeks, too.
Oh, boy. They want no part of him, man. They want no part of him, boy.
Hey, Gary, all that being said, you got Dallas this week.
Oh, boy. Well,
in Dallas, where they've won 14 straight.
Well, I see where, they got Shaq Leonard. Tell him hurry up. Okay. Hey, in fact, I think I'm going to go over to the stadium now, man. Go ahead and start doing some drills or something,
Hey, dude, that guy Christian Ellis, man. Wow, that was hard to watch.
I mean, the thing is, they got to be serious. You can't just throw kids out there.
That's a Howie issue. Gary, isn't it funny that the 49ers spend money on Greenwell and Warner and McCaffrey, and the Eagles don't spend money at all in those? And those were the guys that kind of annihilated them yesterday. I mean, it just shows you a little bit about their construction. Now, you can do that when your quarterback is making $900,000.
Yeah.
So you got some latitude to do that. But
true.
I'll tell you what, man. Hey, well, I have to ask you, what do you make of Big Dom, boy? That getting in there. Hey, come on, man. You can't put your hands on players, man.
Yeah. He was he wasn't trying to do anything wrong.
No.
That it wasn't where he was doing something aggressive against anybody, but he was pretty much almost, I know he went into the mindset because he does that at practice. See, if some guys are getting into it, he's going to, hey, you guys, come on. So he got into that, and he just was playing the role, and not.
You're trying to be. I thought he was trying to be a peacemaker.
That's what he was doing. That's really what he was doing.
Yeah.
And trying to get guys separated so nobody gets hurt and everything. So, but it's something that'll go away. But the guys are going to be jabbing him about that for 20 years.
Hey, Gary, can you tell me something? What has happened to the Eagles' run game? They had 46 yards rushing, and if I look at the numbers right here, Swift had 6 carries, and I think he only had 2 in the second half. I mean, why? One guy's missing. That's Isaac Seumalo, or if you want to go there with Miles Sanders, okay. But only one guy is missing. What's happened to their philosophy of running the ball, man? I mean, it's like they don't want to.
Well, I don't think they're committed to it. See, they're not committed to it the way the 49ers are.
Is that a coordinator thing, or is that an organization, or both?
It's an organizational thing. It's well, and I wouldn't say it's so much organizational, but it's Nick. Nick's likes to throw the ball, and I don't think their offensive coordinator, I don't think he's committed to the run. He's a passer too. So somebody's got to step in there and go, look, man, we got to run the football, you guys. We got to run the football. And all I can think is the offensive line coach has got that in his blood. But the other guys do not have running in their blood to where when they get in trouble, they're never going to totally get away from it. And you got to know when you're playing against a good team, if you're not balanced, your chances are slim. You're not going to get it done because they're going to turn the pass rushers loose on you. So, you're not going to be able to get it done. You need a balanced attack. And I just don't like the fact that they don't have a big back. They don't have a back that's a physical back. Because when you're playing against these good teams, you can't just send a little light in the pants guy up there. That doesn't do anything for anybody. Nobody even is concerned about it. You need a guy that runs hard, and that's what they had. They got a physical back. You need a guy who's able to be physical, and they brought the kid in from Seattle. They don't like something about him or something that he never plays. So it's like they don't have a big back. I don't want to insult anybody, but so I won't use the word with the M, the little guy M, the M word. but that's what I think when I see the backs. I'm going like, man.
You mean mini? Yeah, wait. You mean mini me?
No,
you mean mini?
You can use that, but
I got it.
I was thinking of the word midget, but
I got you. You know
but
what's funny, Gary?
They're not physical though.
Couple last questions here for you. Could it possibly be, instead of Brian Johnson, last year it seemed to me that Shane Steichen was the head chief in charge of play calling. That this year, you make the word, and you said something interesting here, and I'm wondering how you feel about it, that maybe the organization and maybe Nick is not completely committed to Brian Johnson. And so that there's more voices in the building because of what and how new he is to being a play caller. Maybe they're not 100% behind him because it looks like Nick has some say in this, and it looks like the 2 and 5.
He always has. He always has. I mean, he had last year.
You think he had as much last year as he has this year?
Yeah, it depends on how much he exerted. He probably exerted more this year, because of course last year everything was hunky-dory. There were no spots in the year like yesterday. They didn't have any time during the season like that. So without a doubt, Nick has had his hands in things more. And, I don't think he goes over there to him during the game and say, hey, we cannot leave our running game. We cannot leave our running game. And they don't have, even though Sanders would take things outside too much, he was a bigger back, than Swift. And Swift is a small back. All the other backs are little guys. They really need somebody with some size, at least some decent size, so you can be physical. And you know what? I think that takes away something from the offensive line too, because I think if they told that line they got a big back in there, look, we're going to pound. We're not leaving you guys out here. We're going to pound the ball on these guys, because offensive linemen don't want to pass rush all the time, every play, especially against a good defensive line. They want to run the ball at them some, because that keeps them honest and that makes their job easier. You can't just throw the ball every doggone play and going to keep guys happy. You need to let them punch them in the mouth some. So you run the ball at these guys, especially a defensive line like they were playing yesterday. You don't want to just throw the ball every play. And then also
that San Francisco defense is for real.
They are for real. And then listening to them after the game, I'm trying to remember which one of them. I think it was Bosa. He was talking about how they weren't so much thinking about just sacking Jalen. The big thing they wanted him to do was they wanted to get his attention, so he brings his eyes down. He's not looking downfield. He's looking to scramble. And see, that's the key with Jalen. How long does he give the play before he brings his eyes down? And then he's not looking downfield. If somebody's open, it doesn't matter. He doesn't see him because he's thinking about scrambling. They wanted him to be in that scramble mode rather than sitting back there, giving the play a chance and throwing the ball. So that's something I know they talked to him about, trying to keep his eyes downfield as long as possible to give those guys a chance to run their routes. But that's what Bosa was saying after the game. And I can see it where that's one of the keys with Jalen is Does he keep his eyes downfield to give play a chance? As long as he can. Now, you can't ask him to work miracles where he's got to do both. He can only give the play a certain amount of time, and then he's looking at these guys and looking at using his legs to buy more time. So they just got to play better. I mean,
Gary, I'll tell you what was really, really different in that game was what you talked about earlier, that the pass routes for the Niners were so crisp and clear. And yet when I saw the Eagle pass routes and slow developing, getting out there, I mean, like you said, it just seemed like they were like in slow motion, getting those pass routes where the Niners are running crossing routes and they're running all those creative jet sweeps and such. It just, I don't know. It just, to me, it looks more predictable with what they're doing in Philly compared to what they're doing in San Francisco, because Brock Purdy had a 148 quarterback rating.
Hey, you know, Shanahan, they were talking about the way he draws up the plays and everything, and how at times they say, "Oh, coach, we think that's enough. That's enough for this week, coach," because he's a great play designer, and once they get the running game going, you got your work cut out for you because there are guys coming from everywhere, and then the motions and everything. And I was just listening to Nick. And Nick was saying that maybe the defense should have looked at the things with more detail and everything, because they do set you up, man. They do a great job of setting you up. So you got to stop that running game. And if they should, I thought they should have went to a 5-man front. Stop the running game, or you don't have any chance against them, man. If you let that running game get going, you are done, because they go with the motions, and they've got all these guys that are weapons. Which one do you want to get you? Kittle, or do you want Debo, or you want McCaffrey? Okay, you make a choice.
Hey, I got 2 last questions. I want to ask you this here. The 49ers have beat Dallas by 32.
Oof.
They beat the Jags by 31.
Yeah.
They beat the Eagles by 23. They beat the Steelers by 23. Are they the best team in the NFL?
Right now they are. Right now they are. That doesn't mean that's going to be the case later on, because we know the Eagles are capable of playing better. And they just got to raise they got to raise their game. They got to get it up. And if anything,
isn't that funny, Gary? When you tell people that, they get all bent out of shape and they think that that's in cement. You and me are both saying on December 4th they're the best team in the NFL.
Yes.
January 4th, that could be completely different.
Without a doubt. And you got to be honest. Come on. Right now, they're the best team. The Eagles players will say that. But they know that they're not going to play the playoff game against them this week. They're not playing it this week or next week. But they know they got to get better. And that's going to be that's their challenge. They got to get better. Now, I will say this. They started better than they have been. They didn't put those balls in the end zone. If they had scored touchdowns on the first 2 drives, we probably would have had a different game. So, they know that. Listen to Kelsey yesterday afterwards. This is what he was saying. I'm really just repeating what he was saying himself.
Yeah.
So, you got to be an adult and realize, hey, we're not as good as those guys right now. But a month from now, we might have to find out that they might find out that we've gotten our act together and we're playing better.
One last question. Do the Eagles go into Dallas and win on Sunday?
I'll tell you what. Right now, I would say no. They got a different team has to show up, because that defense is going to stop Dallas the way Dallas has been playing right now. I would say no right now. I would say no. They got to show me. Defense got to play much better with the way Dak is playing. I would right now say no.
Yeah, and you got to remember something. They stopped DK Metcalf because he was eating that kid Bland up, but they did some adjusting, and that was Dan Quinn doing that stuff in the secondary, and they kind of slowed him down. And the other kid last year also had 1,000 yards. So
yeah,
I got to tell you, Seattle's not going to be easy.
That's right. But I'll say this: sometimes a slap in the face is the best thing. It's the best thing you need. When somebody comes up and they hit you with one, they wake you up, man.
That's what my wife
yesterday.
does.
They got hit
That's
yesterday.
what my wife does. Snap out of it. So I know immediately what's going down. Gary, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
You got it. The great Gary Cobb, Fox 29, former Philadelphia Eagle. Please hit the like button. We're going to take a look at Week 13 of the NFL. There were some telling stories. Also, we're going to reset a little bit on it's not the nightmare on Elm Street. It's now officially been dubbed the nightmare at the Linc. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.